What's up? What's up? Hey, y'all. All right. What is happening? Facebook. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. All right. So it's a Friday edition and it's Unmothered to Empowered today, guys. You know what? I was going to skip the live today because I had so much going on, but my heart was just like, no, you got to talk to the people. So here I am because I want to see you guys and never want to miss an opportunity to get in front of you and share good information that actually might help you. And so here I am. So if you're new here, welcome everybody. I'm onjeinikab, also known as the Unmothered Coach, and I help women who had difficult relationships with their mothers and lost their mothers overcome emotional trauma, find their voice, and reclaim their power so they can have the lives they deserve. And so if you are new, this is my book. And the book is called Unmothered, A Daughter's Guide to Acceptance, Healing, and Renewal. And so, like I was saying, I wrote the book for women like myself who had difficult relationships with their mothers growing up and lost their mothers. I lost my mother to breast cancer. And so when you have had that kind of childhood and when you've had that kind of trauma in your life, it can be difficult because your mother wasn't there. You know, there was no foundation. There was no support. And so because of that, I wrote the book, and it has the 9 steps to healing to help you get on a healing journey. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how do you heal. And I want to talk about this because I think we hear the term so much, and we talk about, trauma and the things that we need to do to help ourselves get better. But I don't know if we always break down the steps. And so that's what I want to talk about today is what it takes to heal. And so, as you know, we're all individuals. We're all different. And contrary to popular belief, not everyone needs to heal. Not everyone has been through something that requires them to do what you would call healing work, or not everyone, has experienced trauma in their lives. And I want to start by saying that because I think that's something that, people just assume that all of us are broken. And no, we're not. We're not all broken. There are people that don't need to heal. And so they have a different mission in life. They actually, may already be coaches, mentors, therapists, whoever they may be. But their walk is different than yours. Their path is different from yours. So for those of us that have experienced trauma, that do need to heal, it's no shame in that because life is just life. And so we all go through things. So I just want to take a few minutes today to talk about what it takes to heal, like what that might look like when you decide to get on a healing journey. And so that healing is a process that takes time. It's going to depend on you as an individual. It's going to depend on what you went through, what you need to overcome. And it depends on your effort, if you're going to be intentional or not. Because I will tell you one thing from experience, and that is that time is not a healer. Time is not a healer. It's not, because just because time has passed doesn't mean that things that haven't been addressed have also gone away. And I made the mistake of thinking that when I lost my mother. I thought that, over time, the more distance that came with her death, that I would just magically be okay. And then I found myself 19, 20 years later not being okay. And so that's because I didn't deal with the underlying issues surrounding her death. That's because I didn't deal with the fact that although my mother passed away, I didn't grieve the fact that we didn't have a good relationship first. And so that kind of came back, it kept coming back and it kept coming up. And so you do have to deal with things when they happen, and you can't always expect time to be the healer. And so that's why I say healing, it does take time, as far as it might take you longer than it takes someone else. It might take a shorter period of time, but it also takes intentional effort. And so It's worth it though. I want you to know that it's worth it. Because when you don't do the work, when something's wrong, or when you've experienced trauma, when you've experienced a loss, whatever it is, it can sometimes affect you in your adult life. If it happened in childhood, it can come back. If it happened in adulthood, like I lost my mother, I was 27, and all the trauma seemed to compound and like just come to a head at the wrong time in my life. And so when you don't heal, it can affect, your relationships. Like it affected how I was in my marriage. It affected how I was as a parent. It affected me at work. And just a couple days ago, I posted about being in a toxic environment and how it can be related to when you have a toxic mother. And so, I stayed in environments because a lot of the times I've just felt like, well, I can handle this. I'm used to it. But that's not the right mindset. And so when you don't heal, that trauma can play out in so many other arenas that you don't even expect. And then what happens is it holds you back. It keeps you from reaching your full potential. It can keep you from reaching your destiny. It doesn't sound like it will, but when things hurt us deeply, it can come out in ways we don't expect it. Or it can cause us to close ourselves off. Like one of the things I found I was doing with my career, which kept me from moving forward, was I was playing small. I was afraid of stepping on anybody's toes. I was afraid of rejection. And so, I didn't step up. I didn't do a lot of the things that I could have that would have moved me forward, that would have established me as a leader in my industry, at the time that I could, because I was afraid. And so much of that fear of rejection came from the relationship I had with my mother. So I'm just giving you an example of how it can play out. Sometimes when you've experienced trauma and you haven't dealt with it, and you might even have family members that are telling you, no, don't talk about your mother. Oh, don't say that. You should be happy. You only get one mom, and all of those things. When that happens, sometimes you can feel guilty. And you can feel guilty to the point where you don't even know what you should have in life because you're worried about other people and what they might think. And you're worried about, how, what your circumstances were and how now you want to be different. And so all of these little things, it seems, can creep into your head and into your spirit, and they can control your actions. And so that is why it is important to heal. And like I said, you don't have to worry about what someone else went through. You don't have to worry about whether everybody is broken or not. Just focus on yourself and what you need. Give yourself what you need to do better and to feel better and to reach your goals. Because that's what this is about. You weren't put here on this earth to be mediocre. And you weren't put here to sit by and just, watch the world go by. You have gifts and talents, and you have things that a purpose, things that you're meant to do. And you can't do that if you're broken and you're torn down. So I hopefully have some tips that will help you today. And so if you are stuck, or if you're wondering, how to move forward, I just want to talk about what it takes to get on a healing journey. And so the first thing you need is to make a decision. You have to make a decision that you want to feel better. Or you can look at it as goals. However, whatever floats your boat. You can look at it like, hey, this is where I want to be in my career. Or I want to buy a house one day. Or this is, how I want to travel. Look at it like things you want to do. And tell yourself, I'm going to get there. And I'm going to make the necessary changes to get there. And so first, healing starts with a decision. You have to decide that you no longer like the level where you are. You don't want to stay where you are. You don't like the pain. You don't like the hurt. So that's first. Make a decision. And then you need to have the mindset of a healer. And what I call the mindset of a conqueror. Know in your heart and soul that it does not matter where you came from. It does not matter your beginnings. None of that matters. Your life can change so fast when you see yourself worthy of the things that you want. When you see yourself taking hold of it, your life can change in an instant. And so don't underestimate the power of your mind in this whole thing. So make up your mind And then adapt the mindset of a healer. Adapt the mindset of a go-getter. Speak over your life. Be positive. Yes, negative thoughts are going to be there. They're always there. And we have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to put the positive things in ourselves. I don't know why it's like that, but you have to work harder to get the positive things ingrained in there. But whether you got to say affirmations every day and, tell yourself you're great and tell yourself that you are, going to have the things you need, whatever it is, tell yourself that you can heal and you're going to feel better and that this generational cycle stops with you. If you have to talk to yourself like that every day, look yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself like that. If you need scriptures, if you need music, if you need to do exercise, whatever it is that makes you feel powerful and can help you have control over your own mind, that's what I'm talking about. You have got to see it and believe it before you can attain it. It's not just going to show up. The healing and the things that you want are not going to come by osmosis and magic. I wish I could tell you that that's how it would happen. But what it's going to take is you making an intentional decision and then putting your mind behind that. And your mind is going to drive your actions. Okay? All right. So make a decision and then adapt the mindset of a healer and be positive. All right? Speak over yourself. Next, you have to be resilient because we are all going to mess up and fall down and have setbacks on our healing journey. We're all going to have setbacks. There's sometimes that grief just tackles me and knocks me down, and I do cry. I cry because I didn't have the mother that I wanted. I cry because we didn't get to love each other like I wanted. We didn't get to become like best of friends and do all the things I envisioned. She didn't get to see her grandchildren, and she didn't change, from how she was to how I wanted her to be. I wanted her to be a certain way, and I'm not going to lie about that. As a child and even as a young adult, I wanted my mama to be a certain way, and I didn't get that. And so there are some times, even though I'm healed, that I think about that and it causes me pain. It causes me tears. But the tears quickly dry up because I know that that was how it was meant to be, and it's a wrap on that chapter. But I am still here. I am a part of her legacy. I have completely forgiven her. I have forgiven myself for who I had to be when I needed to survive. I have walked the healing journey. And so even though there are going to be setbacks, you're going to have to get yourself back up. This ain't a pity party, okay? Time is ticking away. First, it was we couldn't believe that we were in the millennium. Now it's 2024. So time is not slowing down. Are you going to make your mark and make your impact here, or are you just going to sit by? So you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision. We are here. We have a purpose. And there's stuff that is assigned to you and attached to you. And things that God wants to do for you and things that you need to do to help other people. It's all a cycle. And so you can't do that if you're sitting there broken and sobbing. And so we are not doing the pity party right now. 2024, and we're moving forward. All right. So you're going to have to be resilient. You might have to adjust some of the things that it takes for you to heal. You might have to adjust your circle a little bit. If there are people in your ear that are negative, or even, family, friends, whoever, people that can't support you or they don't understand, then you don't have to listen to them. If you're not ready to cut them off, I'm not going to tell you to cut them off, because I will cut people off quickly. I have learned about me, and I don't play about me. But if you're not ready to cut them off, you don't have to cut them off, but you can go low contact if you're not ready to do no contact. But do what it takes to get the positivity around you that you need, to get the support that you need, and understanding it's going to take being resilient and adapting to move on your healing journey. Now, you need to understand something about healing. It sounds big and scary. And it is. It can be, because there's a lot of things to unpack sometimes. There's mistakes we made. There's stuff we're not proud of. There's stuff we feel like, well, I was just stupid and I should have known better. I shouldn't have listened to her. I shouldn't have done that again. Yes, there's all of that. But you have to understand that even with all of that, healing is a series of processes and decisions. So what do I mean by that? Like I said, you have to make the decision that you want to heal. So that's like the first part. And then there's the process of grieving. That's a process that you go through. It has steps. But you might make the decision to forgive and to release things so that you can accept in new things. So that's what I mean when I say healing is a series of processes and decisions. And then you pair that with life experiences. And that's all healing is. And I know that it's scary because I've been there, done that. And there's constantly going to be things to heal from. This life ain't perfect. Okay? It's not perfect. And so we can't control it and we can't make it smooth all the time. But what you can understand is that you can heal. And so if something happens, you're going to dust yourself back off and get up and try again. Keep coming. Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. Because if you stop, then you're defeated. But if you keep rolling with the punches, then you're going to keep moving. Okay? So you have to understand that it's decisions and processes and life experience and what I call active healing. So sometimes you're going to be thrown into a situation that you're not ready for. You haven't prepared for. And the trauma is going to come up. There may be some of your triggers may happen. Something that's triggering to you or upsetting. You may be in the thick of it, in the middle of it. And active healing is going to have to take place. That means you didn't prepare your response. They tripping down at the job. They're tripping. And they are saying all kinds of things about you. And they are, trying to steal your project or trying to say your work isn't good, whatever it is, because they do a bunch of drama on the job sometimes. Not every job, but some of them. And so when those things happen and you feel yourself being triggered and you feel those old emotions coming up, you're going to have to put in place some active healing where you're going to have to think quickly and say, all right, how am I responding right now? And you can do a number of things. If you need time, you can take time and think and not respond. Or you can say, this doesn't feel good to me and I want to talk about this further. There's a number of ways to handle things. All you have to understand, though, is that life is going to happen fast and you're not going to always be perfect in your responses. But allow yourself active healing. Allow yourself to live and allow yourself to make mistakes and then regroup. Okay? All right. And so then the next thing that you need to understand about healing is that healing only occurs when the growth in you occurs. So you have to heal when something happens to you. So the healing occurs when you realize that the thing, whatever it was that happened to you, has changed you. You have learned something from it. You have, picked up something, identified something, noticed something about what happened to you. And now your behavior going forward is going to change. Now you're going to be different in some way. There's going to be some kind of expansion or growth. Your thinking is going to change. And that's what healing is. It's when something happens to you that maybe you didn't want it to. Maybe it was very bad. You wouldn't have chosen it. But it causes a change. If it doesn't cause a change and growth, then I'm going to say that you're not healing yet. You're not there yet. You may be still, stuck in the cycle. And that's okay. Sometimes we spin our wheels. But when you are tired of that and when you are ready to move forward, that's when you make the decision and say, okay, let's see what the lessons are here. Let's see what I can do different. Let's see how I can change things up going forward. And that's how you come at it. And you adapt a positive mindset that says nothing can stop me. What's for me is for me and I'm going for it. This is not going to stop me. What happened to me will not define me. And I said this, and I think I posted about this. So it's when adversity comes to you, when things happen to you, it's your response that makes the difference. How you respond determines your fate. So don't forget that, okay? All right? And then you need a process to heal. And that is why I talk about my 9 steps to healing, like I said, which are in the book Unmothered. I talk about them all the time. And the process is laid out here. It starts with mindset shift, and then you move into acceptance, where you have to accept what the deal is, what happened to you, what happened with your mother. She was who she was, and you can't change that because you can't change other people. You can only control yourself. So you have to accept that. And once you accept who she was, then you can grieve the fact that, oh, I didn't have that foundation that a lot of people had. Oh, this is the relationship that me and my mother had. And maybe I'm not so proud of it. Oh, okay, there are some things I need to cry about. Some losses I need to grieve. Okay? And so that's how you move from acceptance into grief. And then from there, there's forgiveness. Forgiveness. And I have 2 chapters in this book on forgiveness because it's important. It's that important. So you have to look at forgiving other people, whether it's people that's allowed and enabled your mother to be how she was, people that wouldn't listen, people that harmed you, hurt you in some way. You should consider forgiving them. I don't want to use the word have to, but I say strongly consider it, because releasing what happened will free up space for you to move forward. It doesn't mean that you're letting them off the hook. It doesn't mean you have to reconcile with them and make up with them. It doesn't mean they have to be in your life anymore. And it doesn't mean you're going to forget what happened. It just means you have to release it and understand it happened, and you can't control that. And now you want to move forward. And then you have to forgive yourself. That's an extremely important part, because there was some stuff we had to do to survive, right? It ain't easy raising yourself. It's not easy when you don't have the guidance and the foundation that you need. And sometimes you don't know the direction to go and you mess things up. Or sometimes you just don't know what to do. And so you stay stuck. Forgive yourself of that. Give yourself grace. You are just human. You are not perfect. But you do have control over your thoughts and over your actions. And so from here, you release that stuff. Open up your heart for new things and for new experiences. And get ready for renewal. Because that's part 4. Renewal. And in the renewal phase, you will learn all about yourself. You learn about your triggers, the things that make you happy, the things that drive you forward, the things that you don't like, the people you want to be around. You learn how to deepen your friendships based on who you are and how to attract those people to you. You learn how to be a better partner, lover, married person, whatever you want to call it. You learn how to be in relationships because you know who you are. So it's completely different when you were broken and you didn't understand things and you had a fear of rejection and you were codependent and you were trying to manipulate people or whatever it was. Now that you've come in touch with yourself, you know who you are, you understand what you want, you're getting to know yourself better, then you know what you have to offer and what you want someone to give you. All right? So that's a huge part of renewal. It also plays into your parenting. So it can come out in your parenting. You might do things differently than how they were done with you. You know, it might just be completely different. And we don't have to get into the details, but it might not look like what parenting looked like for you. When you were a kid, how you treat your children and the kids around you, nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever, can be very different in a positive way, in a good way. Okay? And then you just, you look at your career and your goals. Like I said, go for it. Go for it all. Because that's what we're here for. We're not here to sit down and be average and mediocre. We have stuff to do. We have stuff to do. And when you get on purpose and do your thing, it's going to unlock somebody else. And so we're all going to be blessed. But you have to take care of yourself and be on one accord with yourself. Okay? And so that's what a healing journey looks like. I'm going to hit the steps again. First, you have to make a decision that you want to heal. Second, you need to adapt the mindset of a healer and be positive in that thing and intentional. Third, you need to be resilient. Be resilient and understand that sometimes you're going to have to make adjustments. You might need to add therapy. You might need to attend a support group. You might need to find a friend you can vent to. You might need to change your circle. So you got to understand and be resilient. And number 4 is to understand that healing is a series of processes and decisions. It sounds scary, but it's mostly processes and decisions paired with life experience. What I call active healing. And you can do it. You can do it. Don't shy away from it. It's not going to break you. It's not going to break you. We're already hurt, but we're going to build up from here. So don't shy away from it. Do life. You can do it. And then number 5 is to understand that healing is the growth that occurs inside you from what happened to you. It's the change in your thought processes and in your actions. Now that you know some things, now that some lessons have been learned, it's how you're going to be different going forward. All right. And then lastly, healing takes a process. And my process is changing your mindset and then understanding about acceptance, grief, forgiveness, and renewal. And it's all in this book. And if you haven't gotten the book, it's available on my website. But I also post about it like all day long, feels like, on all my pages. I have various social media pages, but I post about this healing journey and break it down in hopefully small steps that can help you to move forward, because that's what I want to see happen. I want y'all to go out there and to do the damn thing, okay? All right, so that is what I have for you this Friday, guys. It is Black History Month. February is here, and I'm here for it. Love to celebrate my people. Very proud of who I am, and so sending love out there to you guys. I want to remind you that one-to-one coaching is open. So if you want to get on the healing journey, but you're not quite sure how to do that, where to start, you don't really want to be in a big group, you can DM me, or you can just go to the link in my bio and set up some time with me to talk about what one-to-one coaching would look like. All right. And then my group program is opening up again, so I'll make some announcements about that soon, but look for that. I have a digital course that I'm running that focuses on healing. All right. So healing the mother wound. So that's what I have for you today, folks. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Have a fabulous Friday, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.